Okay, this is going to be a quick website review of Kim Hunter's website, and it's khunterlaw.com. To start with, when you land on the website, and keep in mind that 98% of people, when they're looking for an attorney, even if they get a recommendation, they're going to do some type of online research, and most of the time that includes looking at the attorney's website. So 98% of people will look at this website if they're looking for an attorney and trying to decide who they want to hire. Right off the bat, when you land on the website, you should have a hero image. The hero image should put the person who's looking for the attorney as the hero, because everybody's the hero of their own story. It should put the attorney as the mentor or the helper, and it should focus on the problem that the person is experiencing is the villain of the story. So this hero image has a lot of stuff it's supposed to be doing, and one of the things is it should have a call to action. This hero image, you can't even see the image. It's a Washington criminal defense attorney. That's probably okay as far as the header goes. There's no call to action at all. There's nothing. The website's supposed to guide me. It's supposed to show me what it is it wants me to do. The only thing this thing is really asking me to do is for the free consultation, but there's no call to action here. There's nothing. If I want more information, if I want to continue to find out more about this person, the website is kind of pushing towards the free consultation and not doing anything else. But I'm not going to get into the design, the look, the feel, the content, and all that stuff, because that you can say, well, that's his opinion, or that's this or that. So we're going to just focus on the facts. But this hero image is not set up correctly. I mean, like I said, the image has nothing to do with law. It doesn't entice me. It doesn't build a connection with the visitor, which is what it's supposed to do. And there's no call to action to kind of guide me through the website. So let's just focus on the facts. If you come to the website, this website is full of errors. Right off the bat, we've got these trailing slash. This trailing slash is not supposed to be here. That's been removed. That's one reason you're supposed to validate the code. If you're a professional writer and you're writing content, then you're going to validate your content before you submit it to somebody. And coding is a lot more difficult than writing an article. As a matter of fact, you've got writing, you've got content, you've got all kinds of stuff going on the website. So a professional developer validates his code to make sure that he's not like this right here. This doesn't exist. This is a non-existent tag that is being put in here that doesn't exist. That should be removed, because the browser doesn't even know what to do with it, and that can cause a delay in the website load times, because when the CSS goes to run and figure out what to do, that can cause a hang up and slow the website down right there by itself. Again, we've got all these backslashes, which really isn't hurting anything. It's an info tag, but they shouldn't be there. I mean, that's why you're getting all these warnings and everything. Here we've got a pipe inside the tags. Now the pipe can cause problems. It can cause it depending on the browser. I mean, some browsers may know what to do with it or ignore it, and some browsers may try to use it and it cause a problem. So this pipe is not supposed to be there, and that's what this is telling us. It's saying, hey, listen, you can't put a pipe inside of a link. So that pipe's got to be removed. It's not supposed to be there. Again, we've got these trailing slash errors and stuff, or warnings. We've got some warnings down in here. I'm not going to look at the warnings. Right here, you've got a button inside of an H3. Either it is a header tag, which is an H3, because when you're using a screen reader, this is an ADA compliancy problem. Either you're using a screen reader and this is supposed to be a header tag, or it is a button and it's supposed to be clicked on. So you have to decide, is this a header tag or a button? You cannot put the button inside of the header tag, and you can't put the header tag inside the button. So this is bad code here. Here we've got this is an A tag, like a link, with a role equals button. Either it's a link or it's a button. You can't have both. It can't be and this is another accessibility issue, because the problem is when you're using a reader, the reader is going to either see this as a link or a button, and they're not the same thing. They don't function the same. Their purpose is not the same. So you have to decide whether this right here is going to be a role or a link. And you know, these problems continue down the page. And this is just on the home page. You know, you can check every single page on the website and you'll find more and more problems. If you come over here, we've got 2 arrows on the missing form labels. The form label, this is an ADA compliance. This is something that you can get fined from the government for. And I realize attorneys don't have to worry about anybody suing them, because you'd be an idiot to sue an attorney, because the attorney can represent themselves for free while you're having to pay an attorney to represent you. But the government can fine you for missing form labels. This has a missing form label. The form labels are used for the readers. So if you have an ADA compliancy reader, or a reader that's helping you read through this website, then this is going to be an error. This is going to be a problem, because the reader won't know what to do. It won't understand what these links are about or anything else, because you're missing the form labels. You've got 8 contrasting errors. The contrasting errors are where the text in the background are not sufficient. This yellow right here needs to be a darker yellow or black or something, but these are contrasting issues. So you've got 8 contrasting issues. Again, you've got white text on the yellow. That's not enough contrast between those colors. So if somebody has got an impairment, then they're not going to be able to see that. And then you've got these alerts down here that's almost an error but not quite an error. So all these things should be fixed. You shouldn't have any errors, any contrasting errors, none of that stuff. These can get you sued or fined. Like I said, with an attorney, they don't have to worry about being sued or fined. But with the government, if a state is hurting for money, which more and more states are starting to hurt for money, you could see the states going after anybody who's got a website just to try and make some money off of it. So your website should be ADA compliant, but even more than that, you've got millions of people who have seeing problems and other problems that you want to be able to use the website. You don't want to discriminate against these people, even more so if you're an attorney. Think about it. If I'm looking for an attorney, I go to a website, it's not ADA compliant, and I say, oh, well, I'm going to sue this company because it's not ADA compliant and I can't use this website. So I go to the attorney's website and it's not ADA compliant either. So for somebody who has a problem and needs to be able to see the website or use the website, you're excluding millions of people from being able to use your website because it's not set up correctly. And this is the web developer's job. The web developers should make the website ADA compliant. They should make the website, they should use W3C. I mean, if you're a web developer, if you're a professional web developer, your job is to make sure that you coded the website correctly. You should not have all these errors and other things that you've done wrong, because you should validate your code. Next, let's look at the page speed. When you come in here, and we've got other accessibility issues. I mean, we could come down here and look at the other accessibility issues we've got, but let's just ignore the accessibility and look at the page speed. This first content pane, this has to be in under 1 second. This website is 9.2 seconds. The web developer should be ashamed. He should be embarrassed for doing this. But this website should have the first content. It should be fully loaded in 2.5 seconds. This one takes 10.9. Actually, you should be able to get the first content pane and fully loaded in 0.8 milliseconds. You should have 0 errors, because you should validate the code if you're a professional, and you should make sure the website's ADA compliant. So this is not a professional web developer, because if they were, they would validate their code and make sure that this stuff was done correctly. A first content pane is going to prevent the search engines from spidering. If the first content pane isn't in under a second, Google will not spider the website. They will abandon the call. They will say, hey, this website is too slow. We don't want to get in trouble for causing it to slow down more by spidering the website, so we're going to abandon it. Slowly, if pages get linked to and everything else, Google may find those pages eventually over time. But if you're adding new content and you're building your website like you should be, where you're posting in your blog and doing all this other stuff, Google will not be able to find those new pages, because the content the first content pane has to be in under a second. The largest content pane has to be in under 2.5. Google penalizes any website that takes longer than 2.5, and the reason they do this is because Google did some studies trying to find out what problems they were having, why clients were having problems making sales and stuff when they ran ads in their ad network, and they found if a website takes 3 seconds to load, just 3 seconds, this is 10.9, if a website takes just 3 seconds to load, it will lose 53% of its traffic. If it takes 5 seconds to load, it will lose 80% of its traffic. If at 10 seconds, it's got 100%. It's losing everything. It's losing more traffic. I mean, this thing is bleeding money like somebody's been stabbing it with a knife. I mean, this thing is just. And if you look right here, the people, and see, this is the other thing. When you put a link to your website in the bottom of the footer, what's that? That's an off-topic link. So it's not only hurting your website because you're bleeding. I mean, it's hurting your customer's website because they're linking to a topic that's not an attorney. This is an attorney linking to a web design company. So Google's like, hey, you're a web design company. What's the purpose of that link? That's hurting your rankings. It's bleeding page rank. Even if it's no follow, it doesn't matter. They've studied it. They've tested it. It still bleeds page rank off the page. So that's taking away from every other page on this website. You've got the site map. The site map doesn't have a link to it. But this is bleeding, and you should have an accessibility guidelines too. That's part of the law as well. And I realize, attorneys. I mean, some attorneys feel like the law is made for the other people and not for them. But you should have an accessibility guideline. You should have the website should be set up. But right here, this thing, not only have you got ranking penalties, you've got all kinds of ranking penalties and everything else because you've got the Google looks at what people do on the website and how long they stay on the website, the bounce rates. All this stuff is affected by page speed. Page speed affects bounce rate and what people do on the website and how many pages they visit more than anything else. At 10.9 seconds, you've got all kinds of ranking penalties. So not only is the web developer costing this customer money, not only is the web developer putting this customer in a position where they could get fined, or if it wasn't an attorney, sued. Not only did they not validate the code to make sure that they did things that were correct and would make it work for users and everybody that visited the website, but they've also set the website up so that it's got bad code. And they didn't even. I mean, it's not designed to guide the user. It's got design problems, design issues, and it uses WordPress. WordPress is like the worst platform you can use if you don't want to get hacked. And if you're an attorney or a doctor, the last thing you want to do is get hacked. With WordPress is the most hacked platform in the world. 3 out of 4 websites that get hacked are WordPress websites. 80% of WordPress websites that are currently online are hackable. You have these plugins. The reason developers and designers use WordPress is because they don't have to learn how to properly code or build their own backend or anything else. They just use WordPress. You throw it online, there it is, you've got it, it's done. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You can set up the website in 5 seconds and have a WordPress website online and working. It's not a quality website. The website is good for nothing until you use plugins. Each plugin you use, and you have to use plugins for everything, each plugin you use is another way to get hacked. It slows the website down. You have to update that plugin 3 or 4 times a month because WordPress finds vulnerabilities in their website 3 or 4 times a month. When you see upgrade 3 or 4 times a month, you got to upgrade your back end. If you don't upgrade it, you can get hacked because it's not an upgrade. It's, hey, we found some bad code in our website that could cause us to get hacked. So you've got to update WordPress to prevent you from getting hacked. So WordPress is like the worst platform you could use if you care about security. I mean, Wix, WordPress, all these things are just crap platforms. WordPress is better than Wix and these other ones. But if you're looking for a secure platform, you should be looking at Python and Django. Python is the #1 language in the world for AI and machine learning and this stuff. And Django is the most secure platform in the world. You put both those together, then you've got a website that's secure. But this website's not secure. It's bleeding PageRank down here in the bottom. The web developer is obviously not a professional because professionals would validate their code, and he does not validate his code. It's bleeding traffic. It's not the search engines are not able to crawl this site. It's bleeding traffic. You've got ranking penalties, and the guy says he's an SEO, Smart Growth Labs. I mean, maybe he's just a web developer, smart marketing for better results. I mean, if you're a marketer and you say, hey, we're Growth Labs, and you look at his website, I mean, you say, okay, well, did he do his website right? Probably not. He probably doesn't know how to build a website that doesn't have errors and bad code in it. and probably doesn't care because nobody knows. Nobody talks about it because all the web developers do the same thing. They all build crap website with bad code. I mean, look at this. The same type stuff. He used that same container there. I mean, we've got the same tags. We've got errors here for the bad links on the elements. The same. You can't you can't use the pipe in here. This W3Org is the company that set up the internet. They're the ones that say, hey, this is what they're the ones that decide if your website's ADA compliant, and it cannot be ADA compliant if it doesn't have valid code, because one error, it only takes one error to prevent the search engines from being able to spider the site, to prevent it from working correctly in a browser, or to prevent it from working correctly in a device like a hearing device or a reading device or something like this that's used for the website. So one code, one error makes it not ADA compliant. If the website's not ADA compliant, you can get fined and or sued, plus you're losing traffic to people with disabilities. So the website's not set up correctly. It's not done correctly. It was not designed by a professional, because professionals would validate their code and make sure that everything is correct. I mean, this is the Smart Labs here. His is better than his customers. This is 5.1, the customer's 9. This is 7.7, but both these have penalties. Google still can't spider this website. They're still not able to do anything with it. The blog over here, I mean, how often is he even posting in here? He doesn't have dates on his blog, so I guess we can't see. But, and you know, it doesn't look like he likes to do images. None of these websites don't have images on them, so they should be so freaking fast it's not even funny. You take a website, and this website right here I've been playing with. So when you take 42, what is it, 42 Lex, because this is a brand new website I've been playing with, but this thing is image heavy. I mean, look at all these images on this website right here. It's full of images, it's full of codes, it's got all kinds of stuff on it, and I haven't checked it in a while, so I may embarrass myself right here, but it should be ADA compliant. And I've got motorcycle websites full of parts and stuff that's ADA compliant and will load in 0.8 milliseconds, and therefore motorcycle dealerships that have all kinds of parts, kits, and everything else in them. This has 0. This is what it's supposed to. You see, no errors or warnings. This is no errors or warnings here. You've got the features, you've got that stuff, but you don't see anything. It's 0, 0, 0. No alerts, no nothing. When you build something 100% across everything, this is bad right here. This should be 0.8 and 0.8. That's what it was before. But I've been teaching my son and some other people how to do some web development stuff and everything else, and they've been uploading images and playing with this thing. So right now it's 1 second for the first content paint, which is still good. It's got to be under a second, so this is under a second. And the largest content paint is 1.5, and this, I mean 2.5. It has to be under 2.5. This is 1.5. But before it was 0.5 for the first content paint and 0.5 for the largest content paint. But it is possible to build a website correctly. But this is not how it's done. I mean, there's no images, there's no call to action, there's nothing on here that tells you what it is you want them to do. So this website, and this website are not done correctly because they don't have valid code. And like I said, if you're a web developer, you should have valid code. The second thing is, you should not put your link in the bottom of the footer because you're hurting your customer. All these errors can be fixed quick and easy. I mean, you can go through these things and fix these errors, but they should all be fixed, because you can't even start. You can't make it ADA compliant when you have when you've got links inside your headers, and your headers are buttons and they're links, and I mean, it's got to be coded correctly, and there's a certain way it needs to be coded and set up so that it is coded correctly. And you ought to get rid of WordPress. I mean, you're dealing with attorneys. If you're dealing with attorneys, how can you imagine that it's a good idea to put an attorney website on WordPress when WordPress is just, I mean, it's the most insecure platform in the world? I mean, it was designed 20 years ago, and when it was set up, it was really cool. It was really neat. I used to build websites with it and everything else. But over time, I mean, they got outdated. They're not the same. I mean, it's just not a good idea to be using WordPress. And go through and remove all these backslashes on. I mean, just remove that backslash from all those things, and that'll fix a bunch of these errors. But you know, unless you know how to code and you know how to go in and do that stuff, it's going to be really difficult to do it. But you need to learn how to do it, especially if you're selling to attorneys, because these websites aren't ADA compliant. If I'm a client looking for an attorney because of an ADA compliant issue, it's not right for the attorney to sue another company for not being ADA compliant when they themselves are not ADA compliant. That's just sad. I mean, that's sad. It's like, hey, it's okay for me not to be ADA compliant because I'm an attorney and nobody's going to sue me, but I will sue you to make some money because your website's not ADA compliant. And Kim Hunter's supposed to be an awesome attorney. I mean, everything I've looked at online about her, everything, and look at this. This is a contact form. This is an error. This thing is trying to find a contact form that's not coming up. This is bad code right here. I mean, right off the bat, you've got a contact form it's trying to pull from, and it's not even there. And look at these images. Wow, look at how, I mean, that image is popped out in there and blurred out and everything else. I mean, that's just terrible design. And why do you have, I mean, nobody cares about all this stuff. If you're going to use that, put it down in the footer somewhere and shrink it down so it's not so big. I mean, this is just, it's like all the things you shouldn't do if you're a web developer right here. Anyway, I just wanted to do a quick review, look at this website, and show you what I see when I'm looking at it, and explain to you the difference between a professional web developer and an amateur web developer, and you do it with the code. It's not done by the clothes they wear or whether they fill out this form or that form. Or none of that stuff matters. The code, the website, the performance, the way it's set up and designed, the platforms you're using, that's what makes it professional, not whether you fill out a form or not.